Hi, welcome back to Endearing Gigi. When I last left off with the story of G, I promised that I would share where she is now and what happened to her. So we're going to take it back to September 30th of 2020. We were still all kind of in that pandemic mode. Not that we're not now. We still seem to be bouncing in and out of it. But we were still pretty heavily deep into it at that point. Anyway, so I'd gotten dressed for the day. It was around noon and given Gigi her bottle. I just fed her lunch and I have the door open. I have a glass door on the front door, so the glass door was shut. And Gigi liked going up to the glass door. She had a feeling, because she saw me get my purse, and she had a feeling I was about to leave. And well, she was going to try to go with me, of course, because she did that every day. And anyway, a vehicle pulls into my drive, and it is a conservation game warden, game and fishery department for the state of Virginia. And I thought, oh geez, he's probably stopping for directions or something, or looking for any information on a call he got. So he steps out of the car, and he was very cordial. And a female also got out of the passenger side, and he said, "Do you have a deer?" And I said, "I sure do." And I looked behind, and there she is at the glass door, just, tails a going. And she's like, "Great visitors. I love my friends. I love people to come see me and ooh and ah over me." And so he says, "Do you know that it is illegal to have a deer in the state of Virginia?" I said, "What? No, I do not know that." And I said, "So am I getting a ticket? What's going on?" And he said, well, he had to make a call to someone else, and court records have all that information. Anyway, I invited him and the young lady to come in and to see Gigi, to sit down with her, perhaps interact with her, offer to give her a bottle, and just see how she lives, just her everyday life, because that's the one thing I don't understand, is that no one ever asked during all of this, no one ever asked, what is it like to live with a deer? What is it? Is it hard? Is it fun? Is it crazy? Is it dangerous? All those things. The answer is it's pure joy. So anyway, it is a lot of work. I will say that it's a lot of work, but it is an awful lot of fun. So anyhow, he said that he had made a call to some other fellow animal biologist to find out what he needed to do. And so I said, okay. I said, well, I'm supposed to be taking my mother to an appointment, but he had me blocked in, so I knew I wasn't going to be leaving. And so it took about maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and I said, well, what will the animal biologist be able to tell you? And I said, will he just be able to come over and see that Gigi is in fantastic shape, that she's thriving and she's doing well? And he really was very evasive on any information that he would give. He did not want to come into the house, but eventually this older gentleman and kind of a younger guy show up. And I had taken them out around the back where I had built Gigi's pen for her to be able to run, big enough for her to run in and play in and sniff some grass. And that was in between taking her out to let her play in the woods, which she stayed always right by my side. She's just an angel, just pure and simple. And so anyway, they proceed to walk around the back, and they put down a cage with inside Gigi's pen that was a metal cage, something that you would see more or less a cat or a raccoon fit into. And they said, we need to take her, and they were going to examine her to see, I guess, to see if she was healthy and all that stuff. No one ever answered my questions about that exactly either. Then they would determine what to do at that point. Still, I had no answers. I was just listening to them give me excuses and whatnot. So anyway, I'm like, well, okay, if that's necessary. I mean, I don't think that it is, but okay. So I went inside to try to get her. I knew very well she wasn't going to be able to fit in that small, tiny cage. And so I went inside to get her to, well, give her kisses, number one, and tell her I didn't know what was going on. She certainly didn't know. And so the female lady that was with the fella driving the conservation vehicle, he stayed outside in the back, and the female walked inside with me. And of course, by this time I was quite distraught and just a wreck. And so my sons were here, and Bennett and Samuel, Samuel being my youngest, at the time 14, slender little fella. They decided to try to help because, of course, Gigi knew them, and knowing that it was going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to get her into such a small cage. There was no way for her to stand up. She couldn't walk into the cage by herself. She was going to have to be crammed into this. That was my first indication that things were going to be very grim for Gigi. And so anyway, I went inside to try to deal with Gigi and calm her down, because at this point she's getting a little riled up. She knows something's up. She knows that something is not right. And so I tried to coax her out to the back porch, and she eventually went out to the back porch. And I proceeded to, while the female lady was inside, she was very, very nice. She had tears in her eyes. She could tell this was complete surprise, and that I certainly wasn't trying to hide this animal from anyone. I invited them in to see if they wanted to come in and see how Gigi lives, and ask me questions about what it was like to, have her, and ask me about her feeding schedules and that sort of thing, for if they decided to take her to a reservation of some sort or anything. I was being more than available, and which they did reiterate that in court as well, that I was extremely cooperative. I, of course, it's, they're the law. So anyway, I proceed to fix her snack for later, and I fixed her another bottle, and I told the lady that I handed it to her, and I said, now this is what she eats, and this is how long I warm it in the microwave. And it was like some carrots and celery and her rice. She loves rice. She was going through a rice phase. And some sliced avocado, because she loved avocado. So I said this should just at least tide her over until I could get to her, once I figured out what was going on and what to do. So I hear Gigi from my kitchen trying desperately to get back in the back door. And the very last thing I heard from her was her screaming. I don't know if you've ever heard a baby deer cry, but they say, "Ma, ma." That's how they talk to their moms. And so the last thing that I heard Gigi say was "ma." And she screamed it, and such a horrifying scream that it sticks with me every day, all day. And so anyway, my sons managed to cram this poor little soul into this metal cage. And as they were trying to do so, the older gentleman that showed up with the younger fellow that refused to speak to me or to my sons, he actually had the gall to say, You know how we would have handled this back in the old days, right? Well, we all know what that means. So that was the only thing that man said that day. My 14-year-old was left with nothing but a hoof mark that was on his arm from where she had been slipping and sliding in the mud, trying to cram her into that tiny cage. So anyway, they got her in there. I'm still inside because I couldn't go out there. It was too horrific. And they the boys asked if they could please walk behind them, and they offered to actually pick up the cage just to keep Gigi quiet and sedate, to calm her down, if you can try to do that at this point, and just making it less stressful. And the only things that older fella and that young guy said to my kids were, no, you can't. Okay, so then I asked, who do I contact? What do I do? How do I get back to G? And how can I get to her? And I was told that they would be in contact with me. And this was on a Thursday. And meanwhile, I called my other son, who was working out of town with his job, and I'm distraught and I don't know what to do. I would never call him in this event unless it was an emergency, and this was truly an emergency. So he immediately got on the phone and tried to find some answers. The fellow that he spoke to gave him a completely different story than what actually happened here. Phil knew better he knew what was going on. He knew how upset we were. Anyway, perhaps it was just miscommunication. I don't know. But anyway, they never got back to me. And it was Monday before I was able to speak to anyone. However, Phil had finally gotten through to someone who knew about Gigi and what had happened. And he said that the animal was destroyed. No warning, no nothing. She went from being a healthy, beautiful, loving gift from God to humans destroying her. So I was left with, I didn't even get her collar back. She had on a collar. She actually had on two because she was a pretty girl. And she had on a Swarovski crystal little collar that I had made for her. And then she also had on a regular collar so that if need be, I could put her on her leash and we could go out back or go wherever we needed to go, or I could stop her, you know, in the common sense stuff. So then I spent about 2.5 hours speaking to the fellow who runs the conservation department for this area or this region. And we had a, you know, of course, at first it was very touch and go with attitudes, both mine and his, as you can imagine, because I had so many questions and nothing was being answered. And I don't understand how someone comes into your life and rips, you can't rip your child away from you. This animal knew nothing but kindness. This animal knew nothing but love. And then she was taken from me extremely, it was very violent. The way she was removed, it was hard to believe that people act this way. It was hard to believe. I don't know what is worse to me was it the what you did to this innocent, beautiful creature, or how you treated me. I would never treat people the way I was treated that day. I would never dream of doing what they did in front of children. It makes no sense to me. However, a law is a law. And in the state of Virginia, you cannot have any wildlife. Later, and I'm going to get to that. I've already reserved a website in the process of making this under construction, and there will be an endearinggigi.com website that will be available to answer questions such as what to do if you find this wildlife, any type of wildlife. It's going to encompass all animals. It's not just going to encompass deer, but it will encompass, like, the people love the raccoons. They love to get raccoon babies. They love to get possum babies. I know that this is a problem. I get that just from doing my research. I understand that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. These issues will not be addressed appropriately if the conservation department continues to act like they do every time they roll up on someone's house. I can tell you that I'm extremely easy to talk to. I'm an extremely understanding person. Answer questions. Don't leave people hanging. These are the things that need to change. The fellow that I spoke to, that I mentioned a minute ago, and I don't even know if I can use names at this point, so I'm not going to. But the fellow that I did speak to seems like, and I told him this, and I told him at that time, I said, after talking to you for so long, had I met you under different circumstances, I think we could probably even be friends. Due to the circumstances, that is never going to happen, I'm sure. However, I did say that I would do my part, and I will do everything in my part to help bridge a gap that is between the game and fishery conservation department and the general public. He did say something to me, and that was that he mentioned that there's not enough money put aside for general education of things like this. How do people know it's against the law if you're not told? Do you wait for the game conservation guy to show up at your house? I mean, what are the laws? What are our rules? Things need to change. We must do something to help these animals. I did not take GiGi in because it was fun and just neat, and I did it because that creature, that innocent, beautiful little baby, she needed someone to care for her. I had no idea that there are places that you can take them to, rehabilitators. If there was a rehabilitator program that I knew about, you don't think I would have done that? Absolutely. I even said, I will do that. Just please let me back to my GiGi. Even if I needed to go to the wildlife center or wherever they had mentioned briefly that possibility that she would go there, I was more than willing to do exactly what they said because it was in the best interest of this animal. GiGi was the most amazing part of my life. People should help these animals. People should feel like they can help the animals. People should not have to hide They're animals. They should not have to hide from the conservation guys. These should be our friends. They should be in partner with us. We should not be in this situation. I don't understand that. These are things that need to change. When it comes time for breeding season, I plan to get some way, whether it be stickers or anything. If anyone out there has any great ideas, please let me know. I plan to have a program somehow set up during the breeding season, or not breeding season, but during the time that the animals are all giving birth during the spring. I'm hoping to have something in place so that these stores, your local Tractor Supplies, your Southern States, your anywhere that sells farm products, like things that I needed, bottle, formula, things of that nature, medical necessities that people use for their cattle, their horses, and that sort of thing. These co-ops need to, it should not be the employees' issue. It should be on the bags. It should be at the counters. There should be signs everywhere. There should be marquees on the interstates that are telling people to please call this number. If you find an animal, there should be an easier way to find out what to do next. My website is going to encompass that because something has got to give. This little animal, Gigi, did not deserve to die, and she's not going to have died in vain. She is going to have a legacy. And I promised her that day that this will not ever happen again. Of course, I thought that I would see her again, but that was not in the cards. I have so many unanswered questions, but so anyway, let's go back to the court thing. So, my heart's destroyed, everything, I feel like my life was turned upside down. Gigi was my 24-hour-a-day love. It was a labor of love, and I have several medical issues that I'm constantly chronically dealing with. And anybody out there that has any kind of medical issues, any type of chronic illness, understands that the smallest of joy sometimes is what's needed just to get through the day. And she was that for me. And these humans, these people that are trained to do good, did not do good by Gigi. And they definitely did not do right by me. So anyway, about a week later, I was served with a paper from the fella that had come up here in his game conservation vehicle, and he said that he wasn't going to give me that ticket that day because he knew how distraught I was, and he could see that I was completely in a serious breakdown mode, and so he waited, and so he gave me the ticket, and my court date was set for December 11th or 12th, I believe, of this past year, December in 2020. And so I went in front of the judge, and that fellow was there. He was cordial, and he spoke the truth. He did tell the judge that Gigi was in good shape, and although the only problem was that I just had broken the law by having her in general. To that man, I say that I understand that you were doing your job, but again, I have to say that you broke my heart that day. My heart will never be the same. Not that matters to them, of course, but I do hope that people, when they decide to go into this line of work, that they understand what the consequences are to their actions, that they understand that they need to take a course in psychology to understand what you're doing to people that truly mean to do well, and we mean to do good. And yeah, a lot needs to change. People need to be kinder. And my GiGi, she was the best. And now, a year down the road, it hurts every day. Not a day goes by I don't think about her. And I wonder how big she would be. I don't understand how you do that, and I don't understand. And so I need to understand. And the only way we're going to do that is through working together. And so I am looking forward to getting this website up. I was not looking forward to doing this video simply because I knew it was going to be very difficult to tell the story all over again. But now I feel that we can move forward, and I think that there's always hope. There's always a way, and we can do this. So I look forward to working with anybody that has the animal's best interest at heart. I will say this too, is that I understand a little bit as to why they acted the way they did, because the fellow that I spoke to, Matthew, for that 2-hour conversation, he did say that they do come up on people a lot of the time that are horrible. They have these animals for the wrong reasons. To me, I can't fathom that. I don't understand that. And it's so much work that it is a labor of love. I don't understand how people could trap animals and then sell them. But these are the reasons why he gave as to why they weren't being very nice. However, and to those people, I say, throw the book at them, put them under the jail. I don't care what happens to those people. But for the people like me that truly, truly want the very best for this animal, for any animal, all animals, we need to have better communication, because until that changes, nothing's going to change. Animals will still die. They will still die, and they're not going to understand why. I don't understand why GiGi had to die. I ask that all of the game conservation, game and fishery people, please remember, I don't care if you've been in this business for 50 years, please remember why you got into this business. Please understand that in order to help the animals, you've got to go through the people. The people are the ones that you have got to get to. So I hope to work in a friendly environment with you. I want to, no flexing. That's where I draw the line. I can't deal with that. I want you to always never forget why you got into this line of work to begin with, because I think that is a problem. I think, maybe these guys, they get older and they just say, well, this is how I've been doing it for years, and you got the good old boy attitude going, and that is not going to do. You need to take every single house that you roll up on, case by case by case. I do not believe that I deserved to have a misdemeanor thrown at me for having GiGi. I, of course, accept it because it happened, but do I believe I should have? No, absolutely not. But did I break the law? Apparently, I absolutely did. So before you take in any animal, you need to understand whatever your state law is, whatever your county law is, you better research it. And let me tell you what, in Virginia, it is not that easy to find that law. I am not originally from Virginia, so how would I know? I mean, does it come in your water bill? Does it come in your power bill? Perhaps that's what needs to happen. And perhaps we need to send out, I don't know, postcards, emails, something. But in order to do that, we're going to need funding. That's going to be another thing I'm going to tackle. So, guys, we can work together on this. As much as I have been through now, losing GiGi, I'm still willing to work with you because we need a kinder community. We need a better community. I am absolutely 100% behind responsible hunting. I am not saying that you shouldn't hunt. I think that it's necessary to a degree. To a degree. I personally wouldn't do it, but I also make the meanest, bestest deer jerky in Bedford County. So just know that. So it's not like I'm a fanatic. It's not like I've gone maniac over all of this. I think that I handle my thoughts and the way I view animals very common sense. I just ask that you do the same when it comes to dealing with the people. Because going at people with misdemeanors and charging them fines and doing this, you know, you're only creating hate. You're only creating problem. I cannot tell you the people I've talked to that even hunters that are totally against the game and fishery people. I don't understand all of this. I'm learning. So I ask you to please do the same. Perhaps a psychology course in dealing with people. And every few years, let's revisit it. You know, I'm not saying you have to go fanatical on that every year. Let's revisit it. Let's constantly be on our A game. Let's not let another thing happen like what happened with GiGi. Please. And I'm asking everyone out there to make sure to tell if you hear of anybody that does have an animal. I see them all the time on TikTok. I see them on YouTube. Please make sure that they do understand that in some states, this is against the law. Perhaps we should be like other states. I believe it's Ohio that has the permit law. That is another thing I would like to endorse and highly recommend, because if you want to make your money in the county, then charge for permits to have just one animal. It's a thought. It's something. And until next time, I wish you all well. It's about to be Christmas. I have everyone in my heart. I have GiGi in my heart. And all together, good people will win. But not without a fight, guys. Not without a fight. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a safe and happy New Year. Wash those hands and keep wearing those masks. Bye now.